You are listening to the Mark Lesko Podcast, a podcast by diehard fans for fans. Mark covers all things Penn State football and the Pittsburgh Steelers, as well as anything related to the sports and fitness world. Tune in weekly to listen to a couple of dedicated fans talk about these topics without filters. Thank you for listening to the Mark Lesko Podcast.
What's up, mateys? Welcome to the Mark Lesko Podcast. I'm your host, J-Rod, and this is Pirate Central. Well, let's start with the first pitch. The Pirates have a boring split with the Redbirds. They could have easily taken 3 out of 4, but they chose not to really put a whole lot of effort into the last game, and I think they let it slip away. And then you had the 2 out of 3 win in the Boston area. And, of course, today's game ended with the close matchup, tied 1-1, but then they came alive in the fourth or fifth inning and scored 5 runs altogether, and they lost 5-2. And, yeah, they just had a pretty straightforward week. I mean, decent road test, but, again, they're not playing for anything this year. So it's just really about how they won. And I feel like with the Red Cardinals series, yeah, they definitely had some great at-bats, but it was just your standard. I think they won 2-1 with the one game, I think game 3, and then just the last game could have had a chance at taking 3 out of 4, but they just decided not to show up, and I think it got away from them again. And, you know, that I think it was Johan Ramirez. It's like they kept him in too long, and they just took advantage of that, and that was the end of that. So, you know, again, what you're looking for at the rest of this season is just trying to find any kind of positives, trying to keep moving forward with things. But yes, I know we keep always having to have the roadblock of, well, it's Bob Nutting. So why do we keep trying to say there's something forward we're going to when all we know is it's just a brick wall that is the name Bob Nutting? I understand. I really, truly do. But in the end, you do want this team to win in spite or not already knowing what Bob Nutting and company are going to not provide. I know that it's definitely not the easiest of situations, but you just got to keep moving forward with it. I'm trying my darndest to find the positives. And again, they did win a series against the Red Sox, a team that is vying for a playoff spot. And I think that's kind of what they do. They know they can play. They know they have the talent. They do. It's just they choose to show up when they feel like it. And, yeah, they already know what the whole structure plan is, which is to look good whenever they feel like it. That's really what this is. Like, the inconsistencies of it all just really kind of just make you go, yeah, this is how they want to be. They want to show up when they feel like it. They lose because they felt like it. And they're not competitive because that's how they feel. It's a pretty straightforward kind of setup. But, you know, knowing that they do have good games, like Bubba Chandler had a great outing, his last outing with I think it was the Red Sox again. It's still, you're seeing some pretty spectacular things with the big time teams that have pretty decent. I mean, again, Cardinals, they were kind of slumping these last couple of seasons, but they always play us tough. And yet they brought him out, and he shows up doing some promising things. Guys like Majinski, I know, had a good outing his last round. And then you had, again, Burrows. Trying to think of the other rookie. Ashcraft. Yeah, Ashcraft. Again, all these names that you're hearing, it's like, yeah, this is great to see things from them. But, you know, again, I try my darndest to not keep bringing back up the fact that these guys are doing what they're doing simply because they just are existing at this point. I mean, they're getting through the rest of the season. They keep playing the teams they play, and if they win, that's what they wanted. If they lost, that's what they wanted as well. I don't know what the answer to fix this is, though. I mean, we keep trying to find every which way to avoid what obviously needs to happen, or the MLB or whoever should be trying to fix this with the Pirates, with the whole attitude that this organization keeps bringing in, which is, hey, we're just going to take these players, put them over there, and then someday get rid of them and make them go elsewhere. I mean, the process of it all is very we don't want to win or we don't want to be competitive kind of attitude. And so, yeah, the whole series is seeing them do something positive. Yes, that's great to see individual stats, and it's nice to see that they can be competitive when they choose. But again, it always comes back to that talking point, like, how do you try to make these guys like something better, something more positive? Like, you should not be trying to do this system. Like, I cannot believe that this system is allowed in professional sports, any sports, anything that you like watch when players go on a field and they perform like that, where it's just, again, whenever they choose. And I just don't know how really else to spin it, where it's like, I know these series, as I talk about, it was good numbers, stats here and there. They walked out of it 4-3 in a 7-game series, and it's great. But we know that they're not playing for anything. We know if they're lucky, they're just trying to, again, find some positives. And it always is a positive on the pitching side. And we always say, well, it's because, again, they just don't feel like hitting. And today kind of emulated that. I mean, what did they have? I know they had it was 1-0 at one point. I'm trying to remember how it was scored. But, it ended up being 1-0 at one point, and then they tied the game up, and the Red Sox tied the game up and got away from them, and Keller had that typical second half slump again. I mean, he had one great outing in the last 7 outings. It's just a very misfortunate thing. I mean, unfortunate thing, sorry. And it's just, I don't know how else to spin this, where they play like they do, and it's like, how in the world do you play like that on like a yearly basis? And that's really, again, stemming from this organizational issue. And again, I'm hoping that there is a solution in the near future. I mean, I'm talking like 2-3 years from now. And again, hopefully when the salary cap conversations happen, that these problems are no longer the issue. Because again, you don't want to have to talk about your team like this. Like, it's not fun when I constantly know what the issue is, and it's like, well, I got to pretend like it's not existing. And it is. It is the problem, where these guys just come into the system and they just collect a paycheck and they go on the field, and if something great happens, it's because the other team gave it to them. Or, I mean, you see that they do have fight here and there again, but whenever they choose to show up, if they chose to show up every day, maybe they would have a winning record, but it's hard to say. Listen, the other offenses in baseball, like, they're talented. They actually want to do something special. And these pitchers on our staff, they're asked to go out there and basically be magicians. They're asked to be perfection. And yeah, so you're asking our offense, like, what did I see? The most scathing, like, statistic, I think I saw that they said that the Pirates are 43-76 or something like that when they give up a run in a game. That team has 76 losses when they give up a run in a game. That right there tells you that this team, the Pirates, have like the worst offense in the history, like, well, of the last 50 years. I mean, maybe not in history, but I cannot imagine that it's any better than some sort of situation that happened in the early 70s with some random team that no one knew about that was basically disbanding. I don't know. Like, it's definitely a concern when you witness a team have 76 losses because they gave up a single run. Nothing more. That just is so baffling, how a team basically just has the worst losing record because they gave up a run. No other team, I think, has ever had to endure that. And so, again, it just seems like they're creating these problems. The organization, they are just trying to make sure that something is always wrong. That way they have a reason to be the way they are, or have an excuse to say, well, this didn't work out because we made it this way. They're not going to say that, but that's what they should openly admit. But yeah, like seeing a split with the Cardinals, I mean, yeah, it's kind of expected, a 4-game series. I mean, yes, it was wonderful to see them win against the Red Sox. And Friday night's game, we were down, I think, 2-1. I don't know if we were down 2-0 or 2-1, but the end result was they powered back and they actually did win that game. And it looked like the team I saw 10 years ago trying to get into the playoffs. Like, it really was that type of fight. It's very rare that I see that. So the fact that, it takes one game every 10 years for you to look like you used to, it's a tough one. It's a tough sell. But in the end, they have seen success. They have a winning record through this week. So it's a great thing to see as a fan. But again, they're not playing for anything. They are just trying to keep going through the rest of the season. So there's my 2 cents with that. Moving on to the 7th inning stretch, we're talking IKF. Again, more Cherington drama. Player that he acquired last year in the offseason, or the trade deadline. And, it was a great trade, great pickup. I very much got excited when I saw that, because I saw that he came from Toronto with like a .290 batting average. Now, the guy had one single home run all season. So he wasn't a power bat that we needed, but he was actually someone you could rely on. A consistent hitter. A guy that did not go through our system, who doesn't make you cringe when he gets up to the batter's box and actually goes up there and puts a decent at bat in, because he already knew how to hit, because he came from an organization or from training that actually knew how to get you where you needed to. Not whatever this is. Like the Pittsburgh Pirates, again, could very well have, blind monkeys, being as the coaching staff, and you wouldn't be able to tell the difference. It's discouraging, where they have some great things. Seeing, again, a couple weeks ago, or just last week, when Bubba Chandler made his debut, another great pitcher doing a lot of great things for the team, but no offense to help. Again, it just shows you how much one side really needs help. The other side is terrific. They're stockpiled with all these guys. And then there's the other side that does not even get a second look. It's really frustrating to know that he went back to the Blue Jays, a winning team that's trying to be in the playoffs, and they pretty much are a playoff team. But again, it's just crazy to think that he was let go when he had 80 plate appearances left, that he could have gotten his $250,000 end-of-year bonus with his contract, and again, got rid of him. Just more Rowdy Tellez kind of crap, and it just makes you wonder. I don't know how that, again, how an organization is just allowed to constantly do this. I just wish there was some sort of sanction or some sort of fine that the MLB can put down on teams when they do things where it's you are deliberately trying to keep your team in the dark. You're trying to keep them in the cellar, and you just do not want them to ever see the light of day. And as fans, it's what's the point of waiting for them to get out of the basement, and when we know that they're never going to be allowed out? It's just, it's definitely a discouraging thing to know that great talent just walks out the door. And again, it just makes you wonder, how in the world are you going to get anybody else to come here? How are you going to want anyone to say, well, gee, this is a struggling team, I want to help them? It's they don't seem like they want any help, or they want to try to do anything that's helpful to be positive, again, to be competitive. It's a pretty straightforward thing. As a fan, I want nothing more. I just would like to say that I can watch them and I don't hate what I'm watching, and just do the fielding thing. And when they're at the plate, when the ball's in the middle of the plate or the strike zone, smash. Just make the at-bats look good. I just don't know why that is just something you can't have. Again, that's just how this season has gone. No, it's a lost season. So it's not easy when in the end what you're doing. If you win, it's it just adds more to that column, but nothing more to say this means anything right now. And it's like, we got to wait for 2026. And again, when you see guys like IKF leave, and when you hear about the last year Macquarie, Aroldis Chapman, the team that you're facing, and he's their closer. And he closed out this game today. And I saw that he had 27 saves and he has an ERA of 1.07. Gee, that sounded like someone who could really help your organization be better. But we let him walk because, again, I think the dude wanted maybe $11 million. Oh, the tragedy of that. Heaven forbid you pay the guy 10, 11 million. I mean, again, it just never ceases to amaze you how this organization just keeps finding ways to just be like, no, we like to exist. We like these guys just to put our product out there with our logo because, it makes us money. They trade away. If not, I mean, it is. It's definitely one of the more remarkable situations. And again, I can only hope and pray that when the salary cap conversation comes up in 2027, when it's a lockout, that it gets done. I will just quote that and just repeat that until the heavens and everything puts it in motion where we never have to worry about money problems again, and we can actually have competitive players on that field once more. I'm not saying these guys don't want to be competitive, but it just seems like the entire organization has pretty much drilled it into their heads that basically at this point we just don't want anything good. So it starts around late April, early May, and just carries on through the summer and another losing season. It's very much like, what more is there to say about it? I just know that this year has been the biggest disappointment because they should have been doing everything they can to be competitive. And that lineup just never looked anywhere near where it should have. And they never tried to acquire. So this is what they gave us. They gave us a very, very disappointing season. And again, I can only hope that, 2025 is in the rear view. And when Ben Cherington gets fired, that we get a GM that, tries to make smart moves and just at least competitive ones. That's the thing about it. Bring in something that will have us looking competitive for 2026. That's all I got to say about that. So I'll close it with this. I do apologize once again for making this video kind of negative and kind of a downer, but listen, when you try to find the positives with this particular season, I mean, again, it's a lot of pitching. Like, you always talk about our guy, Paul Skeens. He is always the bright spot of this lineup, and he is basically the coolest dude you're pretty much ever going to have in your, as on your pitching staff. So knowing that he was a great positive, the other great positive in terms of pitching, you're looking at a guy like Isaac Mattson. I mean, that's a cool story to know that he is he's like a Pennsylvania native within the area. He grew up in this area. Like, it's a great story to know that he kind of was like playing some random like ball in some league that, was nowhere near the minors, and somehow he got acquired and he's doing spectacular things. I mean, there have been a couple of relievers that have done things like that. And up until this point, it's nice to have some bright spots here and there. But in the end, the whole team itself knows what we have gone through. And I just really hope, again, I keep saying that everything starts to go in a positive direction with each passing series and going into the off season when they will not be playing and making this like whole experience miserable. But yeah, it's tough to like try to keep being positive, but I love this team so much and I want them to be successful. That's what you want as a fan. You want to be an underdog sometimes, but it just seems like they want to stay like always being in that category, or like they just feel like, well, I mean, maybe we can psych them out, or we can just, again, it's just they exist. And I very much hope that these times are almost over and whoever is the new GM just try to make things as competitive as humanly possible. So Good. Couple of good series. And then tomorrow's episode, I'm going to be talking about our upcoming series. I can't tell them what they are for the life of me right now, but I will look that up and find out. So again, guys, I apologize for being negative Nelly, but these guys, they just do everything they can to just make you go, oh, this team all the time. So you guys have yourselves a good one. And until next time, let's go Bucks. Well, we won for them.